Hi boys and girls, welcome to reading. Now this week in reading we're talking about the genre of books called narrative nonfiction. These are stories that tell us about something in the real world, something that happens in the real world or what people do in the real world. Nonfiction means that it's not made up. It's not a fun made up story. It's a story about real things. And we're also talking about main idea, which is what the story is mostly about. Okay, the main idea of the story. And yesterday we read this story and then we talked about it. This story is called Uncovering the Past. And then we talked about the main idea there at the end. We're going to do that again, and this time actually write what we think the main idea is about. First we're going to read the story again. We're going to quickly read it to review it, and then we're going to flip over to page 80 and do some work there. So let's go ahead and read Uncovering the Past. One day in Mexico, workers were digging. They were near a hill. Oh no! They hit stone that did not move. They stopped digging. The stone was pink. It looked very old. Scientists came to see it. They had little shovels and brushes. They examined the stone. They read books. Scientists figured out the stone was part of an old wall. The wall was part of a sports arena. Long ago, people played games in the arena. They used a black rubber ball. The scientists were excited. They uncovered more of the arena. Studying old things can teach us about the past. The end. All right. So remember that story? So now we're actually going to do some work about that story. And we did finish with talking about the main idea yesterday. We're going to flip all the way to page 80. Okay. And we're talking about the main idea and supporting details. Now, the central or main idea is what the text is mostly about. Okay. And supporting evidence or details tells more about the main idea. All right, so now we reviewed the story, and now let's go ahead and think about what that story was about, and let's kind of brainstorm and think how can we put that main idea in a sentence. So what would the main idea be about? Is the main idea in that story, and I'm reminded about the story, there's digging, there's people in the past, is the main idea basically talking about digging? Is it talk about how you can get a job in construction and you can be somebody that drives a big tractor or digger? No, I don't think so. That was part of the story. That was a supporting detail. But that really got us to the point to look at the wall. Okay. And now, was the main idea of the story about the wall? No. There was a wall and they found out that it was part of an arena. But really, if I'm thinking about it, the main idea was, and if you remember, there was a scientist that was reading books, remember? And we talked about yesterday how they had read books before, and they read books at the site, and they were reminded of what this could be. So really the main idea would be that studying things can help us learn about the past, okay? Studying things can help us learn about the past. This week in social studies, we're learning about explorers from the past. So that's an example of it. When we today in social studies, Lewis and Clark is what we're studying about. So the main idea is studying can help us learn about the past. So I'm going to go ahead and write that, and you can write that too on this blank line. Studying can help us learn about the past. We always start a sentence with an uppercase letter. We're going to do uppercase S, and you can pause anytime you need to catch up if I'm going too fast. S-T-U-D-Y. I-N-G. Now I'm trying to write kind of small letters. Now I'm doing what I should with the upper, mid, and lowercase lines as we're learning how to write our letters. But I'm trying to write them as kind of small or narrow as possible so I can fit everything on the sentence. Studying, the next word, remember the space. Studying can Studying can help should have put the bottom of that P right on the bottom line. Let me do that just to remind you how to write the P. Can help us, another space. Between every word, remember there is a space. Studying can help us learn. And again, you can pause this if I'm going too fast. And I'm going to show this there at the end. About, go ahead and open this up. Another space, but I'm trying to keep it small so I can fit it. And if you what I'm going to do, which is go a little bit past the blank there, that's okay. About the past, and I put a period there. Now let me go ahead and show you a bit closer up. Studying can help us learn about the past. All right. Now you can pause that. I'm going to show the first part of the sentence again. You can pause that if you need to. Copy that. And then the last part of the sentence. Studying can help us learn about the past. That is the main idea of the story. That's what the author wanted you to remember from that story. Okay, so now let's take a look at these two pictures. And let's say which one of these would best show us the main idea of the story. We talked about it right before we wrote, but would this one show the main idea or this one better? There's the tractor digging. That's a picture of the past and what they were doing there. I think this one would show us more about the main idea. It's not just about the arena, but that was more central to the story. It was about the fact that studying can help us learn about the past, and that's what that picture is about. All right, boys and girls, we're going to do one more page. We're flipping over to page 86. All right, and now we're going to talk about different kinds of sentences. Okay, there's 3 different kinds of sentences that we're going to talk about here, and there's telling sentences, asking sentences, and exclamations. Now, telling sentences tell something. When you read it, it tells you something. That's the purpose of that sentence. Asking sentences ask a question. There's a lot of those type of sentences. They ask a question. So, for instance, you could imagine in your life a telling sentence that you would say, not that you would write, that you would say would be, Mom, I want to go to the store. That's a telling sentence. An asking sentence would be, Mom, can we go to the store? Okay. And then the last one, exclamations, show strong feelings. Now, what would be an example of that? You could say, you went over to your brother or sister and say, hey, we're going to the store. Really happy about going to the store. So that's an exclamation. It shows strong feelings. Okay. So those are 3 different types of sentences. Now, if I look here, I see 3 sentences, and they show those 3 different types of sentences. The first one says, they play a game. What would that type of sentence be? Telling, asking, or exclamations? That actually would be telling. That's a telling sentence. They play a game. The sentence is telling us that they, whoever they are, play a game. They're playing a game. Okay, the next one is the ball black. Oh, let me just give a detail. Usually a telling sentence ends with a period. Okay, there's a period there. And then there's a space, and the next sentence is the ball black. Is that telling, asking, or an exclamation? That's right, that's asking. Asking you a question about the ball. Is it black? Is the ball black? And asking sentences, they end with a question mark. See a question mark there. That lets us know that that's a question that's being asked. And then one more sentence. They win. There's an exclamation point. That is an exclamation type of sentence. That shows strong feelings. They win. Or, oh no. Remember in the story, the construction workers, there's a line that said, oh no, that showed us how they felt. It's a strong feeling. Okay? So now, we're going to take a look at this sentence here. We're going to make we're going to make a correction and add something. There's something wrong with this sentence that we have to change, and then we're going to add something on the end to show that it's a telling, an asking, or an exclamation type of sentence. First thing, if I look at this, now what do you see that's wrong here with these 3 words? There's something wrong with one of the letters of these 3 words. And as a reminder, look at these sentences. See that? How do the sentences begin? They all begin with an uppercase letter. See, the, that's the first word in that sentence, so there's an uppercase T. got to have an uppercase letter to begin a sentence. Same with the I and is. See? And then the T and they. So the sentence says, we play baseball. So that W needs to have an uppercase. It needs to be uppercase, not lowercase. So I'm just going to cross that out, and I'm going to put an uppercase W right there. See? There we go. That's better. It should say, we play baseball, starting with the uppercase letter. We play baseball. We also remember, and we talk about how names always have an uppercase letter at the beginning. But for this sentence, we're talking about the first word of a sentence. Has to be uppercase. Let me do this as well. I'll tell you what, let me make this a little bit more clear. And you may have done that. You can leave that as you did it in your book. But it should look like this. There we go. We play baseball. Now, there's something that needs to be added. You always need to have punctuation at the end of a sentence. Punctuation is a period, question mark, or an exclamation point. And it shows us what type of sentence it is. Okay, so if I look at this, we play baseball. Is that telling, asking, or an exclamation? Is that a question? No, that's giving information. We play baseball. That's not an asking. Do you think that's an exclamation? Is there strong emotion in there? No, it's just telling. It's just telling, and a telling sentence ends with a period, like they play a game. We play baseball. So I'm going to add a period right there. That's it. It's a very short little blank to put it, just because it wants you to put some punctuation, and a period is appropriate for that one. We play baseball. Very good. All right, boys and girls. So we worked really hard on our reading today. Thank you for working with me. Now, today, as you go throughout the day, when you see things on TV or in a book, look for the punctuation at the end of a sentence. Look to see how many times you see a question mark, exclamation point, or period. All right? You'll be interested to see how many times it comes up. And you should always see this, but make sure you always see the uppercase. I'm sure they always put it in books as they're supposed to. And different things. All right, boys and girls, thank you for joining me today for reading.